Hey everybody, welcome to a more excellent conversation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today we're gonna have a more excellent conversation about cash and credit cards, all right? When I say cash, I also mean debit cards as opposed to credit cards. So let's get into it, guys. So I learned in college, when you are writing an argumentative essay, you always present the other side. So giving the other side or the side that you're biased against, you give them some room and you point out the pros of that other side of the argument. So that's what I'm going to do about credit. I disagree with credit. I would rather everything be cash or debit, but also a disclaimer, I'm not a financial expert. I'm just somebody who's very passionate about the topic. With credit, there are some pros to credit. I hear a lot of people saying, giving their reasons for credit. I used to have a credit card years ago. I had credit cards in the past, and the benefits to them were all right, decent. You get like lounge access for like airports. You get discounted like 2 to 5% off of certain things like gas or groceries and things of that nature. You get cash back also. A lot of people are so interested in the cash back you can get from credit cards, and that's why they stay with a credit card. Or also like miles, airplane miles. You get X amount of airplane miles for X amount of dollars you spend. You're able to use those miles or points to get like a discount on your flight or a flight completely paid off from your points. And the lounges at the airport that you get that I talked about a little while ago, like those are super cool. It seems like the amenities and the things that you get from credit card appear to be higher looking status. When I had Delta, I had a credit card for American Express with Delta, through Delta, and one time a flight got canceled and they upped me from regular seating to first class. That's the first time I ever had flown first class. So my wife and I were able to fly first class for the first time because of the credit cards that we had at the time. If you were an American Express credit card holder and someone in first class canceled their flight, you were first priority. Also boarding, you get like first priority. You get to be in the first cabin after people with needs or wheelchair access, then first class, then it's the people with the credit card. So those are just some of the benefits of credit cards. I'm sure there are a lot more. Like I know like I said before, the cash back is super appealing to people. And I get it. Credit seems appealing. It seems super cool. And I know in the back of everybody's mind, it's like, you have to establish credit to get a good apartment. You have to establish credit to get a home one day. And I know like that's in the back of everybody's mind. But I feel like there's a more excellent way to attack credit cards, a more excellent way to attack home ownership, a more excellent way to attack becoming a renter as well in an apartment. So let's get into it. Let's see the other side. All right, so if you are using cash or debit, the benefits to it is that you don't owe anybody money. I think credit has done an excellent job. FICO has done an excellent job of making the score that you kind of attach to your identity. Like, oh, I can't do this because my FICO score is only here, or I can't do this because my FICO score is here. But in reality, the reason we would need credit or to borrow money is because we are not managing our money properly. And if you go to the previous videos about finances, how walking through the Dave Ramsey baby steps opens up your finances and allows you to really utilize the money that you already have. I'm also reminded by the Bible verse in Proverbs 22:7. We'll read it together really quick. I'm bringing out the KJV today, guys. KJV, sometimes you gotta do it, KJV, Proverbs 22 verse 7 reads, "The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender." So when you're establishing credit, all you are saying, I'm going to be a long-term borrower, and I can't fathom a place where I can actually be the lender themselves, or I can actually afford to have an apartment without a credit score, or I'm able to purchase a home in cash. Like, these things are actually possible, And all we have to do is change our mindset in the apartment applying process. Because before there was credit, people were still getting apartments, right? So it's not like a magical new thing, like it's only credit. It's been done before. And also proximity. Like one of my friends, she was able to find an apartment because she knew a landlord. Like finding people in proximity to you, if you're tagged into a local church or you have a good community or you have a good networking system, asking those people if they know of any place that's available for rent. I know some people use Craigslist. I don't solicit Craigslist, but there are other ways around this. I need credit. I need to establish this credit. I need to borrow X amount of money so my credit score goes up. Because when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, does it make sense to borrow? You're borrowing money so that you're able to access more borrowed money. So you're borrowing money you don't have to borrow more money you don't have. And what ends up happening is your income feels smaller and smaller and smaller until you have nothing left in return. And then when it comes to home ownership, a lot of people are like, I need credit because I won't be able to take out a loan on a home. And there's two ways to think about this, right? There's something called a manual override. The bank will look at your pay stubs. The bank will look at your consistent payments if you were renting before and see if you're eligible based on your income, based on your previous rent or insurance, if you're able to keep up with those mortgage payments. And remember, credit wasn't always a thing, so people have done this. People still do this today, and people were using it back in the day in order to purchase their homes. And also, think about FHA loans, taking out 3 to 5% to put on a home. What happens when you take out 3 to 5% on a loan? Your mortgage payment is so much larger, larger than it would be if you put more money down. And you're also trapped in something called PMI, which is mortgage insurance. So it's the way the bank ensures that they will make some money when you take out that loan, ensuring that they make some money off of the loan that they're giving to you, right? So you have PMI when you don't put 20% down on the home. And people who already own homes already know that that PMI is a payment in itself, right? Just paying off that interest, paying off that insurance, it takes some time because it's 20% of how much the home is worth. So if you can rethink about your thinking, saying, what if I decided to stack up some money, rent for a few years, get out of debt, have an emergency fund, budget, contribute 15% of my income to retirement, make sure my children have a college fund, right? Then you're able to move this money around in such a way where you won't be stressed about paying off or saving for a home in the future. And also, another way to look at purchasing this home is it's 25% of your take-home pay. If you can't afford at least 25%, and there's some wiggle room there. So say you take home $6,000 a year, your rent should be, or your mortgage should be no more than $2,000. So it doesn't feel like your income is being choked out by your home. Because a lot of people are buying homes, but really can't afford the mortgage payments, or their mortgage payment is 50% of their take-home pay. And some people call that, and I would call that being home broke, right? You own a home, but you're broke because you're not able to really access your finances to its fullest capacity. And so these are some things to take into account when we're comparing credit and debit, right? And there's a company that usually supports this manual override called Churchill Mortgage. Dave Ramsey always solicits them. But you know, like I always say, do your own research, but these things are possible. Our mindsets can be changed and adapt instead of just following the flow of everything, right? Wandering, endlessly without really any sense of direction, just following the next person, right, could actually damage you in the long run, right? We see in the world sometimes people have cars, homes, right? They seem to have this good job, but they're making 6 figures and still living paycheck to paycheck. And that's not an income problem, that's a financial literacy problem or a budgeting problem, right? You have this great income, but you can't do anything with it because our finances are not managed in a proper way.